Kai wiped the sweat from his brow as he knelt beside the starship's hull, examining the damaged power conduits. Sparks had flown from the main reactor when it was hit by enemy fire, and now the ship sat in a cratered valley, smoke curling from fractured panels. The landscape around him was jagged and alien. Jagged black rocks jutted from the dusty red soil, and distant thunderclouds shimmered with strange electrical discharges. The war had reached this planet only days ago, and the humans stationed here were already stretched thin. Engineers like Kai were rare, and he had learned early that his skills often decided who lived and who didn't. He adjusted the energy calibrator and scanned the circuits again, trying to locate the exact break in the primary conduit. It was delicate work. One wrong adjustment could overload the system and collapse the entire ship. He glanced around cautiously. The planet was quiet now, but he knew the enemy could strike at any moment. The humans who had sent him here had warned him that the scouts were relentless. Yet this was his work, his expertise, and he felt a quiet pride in knowing that his hands could fix what others could not. A rustle from the rocks above made him freeze. He held his breath, listening. It was not the low hum of distant engines or the faint buzz of electrical fields. This was deliberate movement, purposeful, measured. A figure emerged, stepping down from a high ridge, a silhouette framed against the stormy sky. She moved with fluid grace, a soldier by appearance, but Kai noticed immediately that she was not ordinary. Her uniform gleamed with an unusual material, almost metallic, yet flexible, conforming to her movements. Her helmet was tucked under her arm, revealing sharp features and piercing eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. "Need a hand?" she asked, her voice calm but confident. Kai blinked.
Yes, that would help. I didn't expect anyone this close to the crash.
He gestured to the conduit.
This section is tricky.
If I misalign it, the whole power matrix could fry. She knelt beside him without hesitation, her hands moving over the damaged conduits with skill that matched his own. Kai had expected soldiers to stay clear of technical repairs, but this one worked with a precision that impressed him. "I've done similar work in field conditions," she said. "Not your specialty, but enough to avoid catastrophic failure." Kai glanced at her, surprised. Soldiers rarely spoke this way. They followed orders, not technical logic. But her understanding of systems went beyond normal military training. He felt a twinge of curiosity.
"You've worked with starship tech before?" She shook her head slightly, smiling faintly. A bit.
Enough to know when to leave it to the engineer. But these repairs need coordination. I can hold the conduits in place while you realign the energy flow. The two of them worked in silence for several minutes. The storm overhead intensified, wind and dust whipping around them. Yet inside that small circle around the ship, there was a strange calm. Kai found himself noticing small things. The way her fingers moved over the conduits, the way she adjusted the calibrator without hesitation, the way her eyes constantly scanned the horizon even as she focused on her task. "You're not a typical soldier," he said quietly.
Most would never get this close. Most wouldn't know how to handle these systems.
She paused, lifting a conduit into position. "I'm used to unusual circumstances," she said lightly. "You get the idea soon enough if you survive long enough in this war." Kai nodded, impressed. He had fixed many starships in his time, but he had never met someone like her. There was a calm authority about her, even when she was crouched in a crater fixing circuits. He wondered where she came from, which unit she belonged to. The moment was broken by a tremor underfoot. Dust fell from the rocks, and a low rumble echoed across the valley. The enemy, it seemed, was approaching. Kai cursed under his breath. "We need to get this done before they find us." She nodded, eyes sharp. "I'll keep watch. You finish the repair." Kai worked faster, his hands moving over the conduits, reconnecting circuits and adjusting energy flows. The ship's systems began to hum faintly, a sign the power was returning. He exhaled, relieved.
The basic repair had worked. "Good," she said, glancing at the restored circuits. "Now we need to make sure the ship can fly off the planet without drawing too much attention."
Kai frowned. That's going to be tricky. The engines are damaged, and the stabilization systems are unstable. She studied the ship for a moment, her gaze calculating. "We'll use the auxiliary thrusters to lift it out. It won't be fast, but it'll be enough to avoid detection." Kai hesitated. "You know this ship better than I do. Who are you, really? You're not just a soldier." She smiled faintly, almost enigmatic. "Let's just say I'm someone who needs to survive as much as you do." They began working together to prepare the ship for takeoff. She guided him through adjustments to the auxiliary thrusters and stabilization fields. Kai followed her instructions carefully, though part of him still wondered about her true identity. She moved with authority, but there was something unspoken, something hidden behind her calm exterior. The rumble of enemy ships grew louder. Shadows moved across the valley, alien silhouettes advancing with precision. Kai felt his heart race. This was no ordinary skirmish. The enemy was organized, disciplined, and deadly. "They're coming too fast," he said, glancing at the sky. "Even with the thrusters, we won't make it if they engage us directly."
She studied the horizon, then looked at him. "We need a distraction."
"Can you rig the secondary power cells to overload briefly, enough to draw their attention without destroying the ship?" It was risky. If he miscalculated, the entire ship could explode. Yet, it was the only chance. "I can do it," he said. "But we need to time it perfectly." She nodded, crouching beside him. "I'll guide you. We work together, and we survive."
Minutes passed in tense silence as Kai connected the secondary cells, following her precise instructions.
The hum of the ship grew louder, the storm of dust and wind whipping around them, making it hard to focus. Yet Kai felt a strange clarity, a connection with this soldier who moved with calm confidence in the face of danger. When the setup was complete, she took a deep breath. "Now," she said. Kai activated the overload sequence. Sparks and flashes erupted from the secondary cells, drawing the enemy's attention just as planned. Alien forces shifted their focus, and the human-engineered ship began its slow lift from the crater. They had pulled it off. For now, they were alive. Yet the questions about her identity remained. Who was she really?
How could a soldier move with such authority and precision? As the ship stabilized in the air, she turned to him.
"You did well. Most engineers would have panicked under this pressure." Kai felt a mix of pride and curiosity.
"You're different. I've never met anyone like you."
G smiled, but her expression was guarded. "And you've never been asked to do more than just fix a ship before. Sometimes, humans are more important than they realize." Kai frowned, not understanding fully. "What do you mean?" She glanced at him, her eyes serious. "You'll see soon enough. For now, trust that your skills matter more than you think." The ship lifted higher, leaving the valley behind, but the danger was far from over. Enemy ships were regrouping, preparing for another strike. Kai tightened his grip on the controls, following her guidance as she coordinated evasive maneuvers. During the tense flight, Kai noticed more unusual details. Her command of the situation was flawless, and the alien scouts seemed to obey subtle signals she gave, almost instinctively. It was unlike any soldier he had ever encountered. Every movement, every decision, radiated authority and experience far beyond her apparent rank. Kai stole a glance at her as she monitored the instruments, a faint smile on her lips despite the tension. He couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something immense. She was more than a soldier. That much was clear. Hours passed as they navigated the hostile skies, avoiding enemy patrols and seeking a safe location to land. Kai worked alongside her, repairing minor systems, rerouting power, and adjusting controls based on her commands. It was exhausting, but he found himself learning from her, absorbing not just technical guidance but also the way she thought tactically, anticipating enemy movements and countering them before they happened. Finally, they reached a remote spaceport, hidden within an asteroid cluster. The facility was small but secure, a neutral zone where humans and allied forces could repair ships and regroup. As they landed, Kai felt a sense of relief, though questions about her identity pressed in his mind. She helped him secure the ship and turned to him, her expression softer now. "You've done well today." Few could have handled this mission under such pressure. Quiet. Kai shook his head. "It's not just me."
You're incredible. Who are you really?
You're not just a soldier. I can tell that much.
She hesitated, then smiled faintly. "Let's just say I have responsibilities that go beyond the ordinary." Guy frowned, still unsatisfied. He wanted answers, but for now, he had survived, and they had completed their mission. He didn't realize it yet, but this encounter would change the course of his life forever. As they walked into the spaceport, Kai glanced at her once more, noticing the way the alien engineers and guards deferred to her, subtly, almost instinctively. That was not behavior given to ordinary soldiers. There was power here, hidden but unmistakable, and though she hadn't revealed it, Kai could feel it. The young engineer realized that this was only the beginning. The soldier he thought he was assisting was far more than she appeared, and soon he would understand just how significant his role in the galaxy had become. Outside, the storm clouds finally began to break, letting shafts of alien sunlight filter through. Kai looked up at the sky, a mixture of awe and anticipation swelling within him. He had stepped into a war much larger than himself, and the soldier he had helped, who was more than a soldier, was about to lead him into a world of intrigue, power, and discovery that he had never imagined. And somewhere deep inside, Kai knew that the human ability to adapt, to think, to create, would be what determined not only their survival, but the survival of countless worlds across the stars. Kai stood at the edge of the asteroid port, watching as the human and alien engineers worked together to repair the starship. He still couldn't shake the feeling that Lyra, the soldier he had helped escape the enemy attack, was more than she appeared. Even after hours of working together and surviving dangerous encounters, she seemed calm and confident in a way that went far beyond ordinary training. Her movements, her decisions, her subtle control over the surrounding personnel, all suggested a power and experience Kai could not yet comprehend.
"Are you okay?" Lyra asked, breaking his thoughts.
She was leaning against a railing, her arms crossed, watching him carefully. Kai nodded, brushing a hand through his hair.
I think so. It's just...
You're not like any soldier I've ever met. How do you stay so calm even when everything is falling apart? She gave him a faint smile, but her eyes were serious. And sometimes you learn quickly that panic doesn't solve anything.
Kai studied her for a moment.
There was a hidden depth in her eyes, a weight of responsibility that he could feel but not fully understand. He had worked with commanders before, engineers, even elite soldiers, but she seemed to belong to a world far above all of them. He didn't yet know that he was right. As night fell across the asteroid cluster, the facility dimmed its lights to conserve energy. Shadows stretched across the walls, and Kai felt the quiet hum of distant ships docking and leaving. It was a peaceful moment after the chaos of the day, yet he sensed that their work was far from over. "Come with me," Lyra said, gesturing toward a secluded hangar bay. She moved with her usual confidence, but Kai noticed a hint of urgency in her step. He followed, curious and cautious. Inside the hangar, the hum of the starship's auxiliary power filled the space. Lyra approached a large console and activated a holographic display. Complex schematics of ships, fleets, and energy grids appeared in the air, glowing softly in blue light. Kai stared, his jaw slightly open. "What is this?" he asked, stepping closer. "These schematics, they're unlike anything I've ever seen." The technology is advanced, beyond human military design. Lyra glanced at him. "I wasn't exaggerating when I said there's more to me than you know. I'm not just a soldier. I am the Empress of this empire." Kai froze. His mind spun. The Empress.
What? What are you saying? She nodded, calm and steady.
"I needed to operate incognito for security reasons. The enemy has agents everywhere, even within the systems you thought were safe. I travel in disguise to observe and intervene where necessary without drawing attention to my position. That's why I needed your help. Your skills, your human ingenuity, make a difference in ways few can imagine." Kai struggled to process the revelation. The soldier he had worked beside, the one he had admired for her confidence and skill, was not a soldier at all. She was a ruler, someone whose decisions affected entire worlds. The weight of that knowledge pressed down on him. You trusted me?" he asked, incredulous. "A regular engineer, helping the Empress of a galactic empire? You risked everything."
Lyra's gaze softened slightly. "I trust humans."
Your creativity, your adaptability, your ability to solve problems under pressure, these are qualities my empire cannot replicate. In many ways, humans are unpredictable and brilliant. That is why I came to work with you directly. You are important, Kai. More than you realize."
Kai swallowed hard. He felt a strange mix of pride and fear.
Pride that she saw value in him. Fear of the magnitude of what she was telling him. The scale of responsibility, of expectation, suddenly seemed enormous, the Empress continued, her voice calm and deliberate. "The war we face is unlike anything your colony has experienced. Our enemies are organized, advanced, and ruthless. They seek not just to conquer, but to erase civilizations. My fleets alone cannot win. That is why I need allies, skilled and resourceful individuals, who can act independently. Your work in repairing and modifying ships, in understanding and optimizing systems, is crucial." Kai's hands trembled slightly. "So, what do I do?" "I'm just an engineer. I don't command fleets, I don't make strategic decisions for empires." She stepped closer, placing a hand lightly on his shoulder. "You do what you have always done. Use your mind, your skills, your creativity. Humans can approach problems in ways even my advisors cannot anticipate. Your role is not simple, but it is essential. Together, we can turn the tide of this war." Kai felt a sense of determination rising within him. Fear still lingered, but he also realized that he had a rare opportunity to be part of something greater, to contribute in ways he had never imagined. The Empress believed in him, and that belief carried a weight that could not be ignored. "Okay," he said finally. "I'll do it. I'll help you. But how do we start?" Lyra gestured to the holographic display. "First, we need to reinforce the ships and prepare them for rapid deployment. The enemy has a stronghold in the nearby star cluster. We need to upgrade our fleet's systems and ensure our ships can move without detection. You will lead the engineering efforts, using your knowledge to modify existing vessels and adapt our technology to unforeseen challenges." Kai leaned over the holographic schematics, examining the complex network of engines, shields, and energy conduits. He felt a spark of excitement. Here was a challenge worthy of his skills, a chance to innovate, to create, to save lives in a war that stretched across galaxies. As he worked, Lyra guided him through the strategic context, She explained the enemy's capabilities, the locations of their fleets, and the political intricacies that demanded secrecy. Kai listened intently, absorbing every detail, even as he realized the sheer scale of what was at stake. Hours passed as they planned, calculated, and improvised. Kai suggested modifications to power systems, new configurations for energy distribution, and adaptive shielding that could respond to attacks in real time. Lyra listened, offering insights from her perspective as a commander and empress, blending strategy with practical execution. The synergy between them grew quickly. Kai's human ingenuity complemented her strategic brilliance. Every suggestion he made, every adjustment to a system, was refined under her guidance, creating solutions neither could have developed alone. During a break, Kai watched her closely. "It's strange," he said quietly. "Even knowing you're the Empress, you still act like the soldier I met in the field. Calm, decisive, approachable. How do you do it?" Lyra smiled faintly.
Leadership requires many forms. Sometimes you must command from above.
Sometimes you must stand beside your people, working in the trenches. Today, you and I are in the trenches together. That is what matters. Kai nodded, impressed. He realized that her humility and approachability were part of her strength, a way to inspire those around her. It was rare to meet someone who held power so completely, yet remained relatable, approachable, and collaborative. As the night deepened, alarms suddenly blared. The enemy had detected activity in the star cluster and was moving to intercept their fleet. Kai's heart raced. This was the moment they had prepared for, the moment when his skills would be tested under fire. Lyra moved with swift authority.
Kai, we need to deploy immediately.
The modifications you've made are critical. I'll coordinate the fleet.
You handle the engineering teams and ensure every ship is ready for launch.
Engineers scattered under his direction, recalibrating shields, reinforcing hulls, and adjusting energy flows. The Empress monitored the fleet, issuing commands that synchronized movements across multiple ships. Kai felt the intensity of the situation, but he also felt a growing confidence. This was where human ingenuity shone brightest. Under pressure, in moments of uncertainty, humans could adapt and overcome in ways that no pre-programmed system could. The fleet lifted off from the asteroid hangars, weaving through the asteroid field with precision. Enemy ships appeared on sensors, sleek and deadly, their movements coordinated and efficient. Kai's modifications allowed the fleet to maneuver unpredictably, using adaptive shields and power surges to evade incoming fire. Lyra's voice came through the comms, calm and decisive.
Kai, focus on the critical nodes. Keep the engines stable and the shields responsive.
Trust your instincts. Kai adjusted conduits, rerouted power, and implemented last-minute modifications that allowed several ships to escape what seemed like inevitable destruction. The combination of human creativity and her command made the difference between life and death. Hours of tense maneuvers passed. The fleet, battered but functional, managed to retreat to a safer system. Kai wiped the sweat from his brow, feeling the exhaustion settle in. Yet he also felt exhilaration. They had survived against overwhelming odds. Lyra approached him in the hangar, her expression serious but approving.
You did well, Kai. Your decisions saved lives today.
The fleet's survival depended on your work. Never underestimate the impact of human skill and creativity. Kai looked at her, finally understanding the weight of what she had been saying all along. Humans, ordinary humans, had the power to shape the fate of entire star systems. His ingenuity, combined with leadership and strategic vision, could tip the balance in a war that spanned the galaxy. "You really trust me," he said quietly, awe in his voice. Lyra nodded. "I do, and I am not alone in this belief. Humans are unpredictable, resourceful, and resilient. Those qualities make all of you, indispensable." Kai felt a deep pride swell within him. He realized that the war was not just about fleets and empires. It was about individuals, about the ability to think, to adapt, to innovate, and today he had proven that humans could rise to meet challenges that even the most powerful rulers could not solve alone. As the stars stretched across the night sky, Kai knew that his life had changed forever. He was no longer just an engineer fixing ships. He was a vital part of a larger struggle, one that would test every skill, every decision, every ounce of human ingenuity he possessed. And with Lyra, the Empress, the soldier, the strategist, by his side, he knew that together they could face any challenge the galaxy threw at them. The battle was over, but the war was far from won. And in the quiet moments, Kai felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had discovered that humans, even ordinary humans, could shine in extraordinary ways, and he was determined to prove that every day, in every star system they encountered, ingenuity, courage, and resourcefulness could change the course of history. The fleet drifted in the quiet of space, its engines humming with steady energy as Kai monitored systems from the central engineering hub. The adrenaline from the previous encounter still lingered in his veins, and though the immediate danger had passed, he knew the war was far from over. Lyra, the Empress in disguise, moved along the command deck with grace and authority, issuing silent signals and subtle adjustments that kept every ship in perfect formation. Kai watched her carefully, still amazed that this young woman, whom he had once thought to be a mere soldier, wielded such power and control. "Kai," Lyra said, her voice calm yet commanding. "We need to prepare for the next engagement. Intelligence reports indicate the enemy is regrouping."
They are planning a coordinated strike against this sector. We cannot let them catch us unprepared.
Kai nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle firmly on his shoulders. "Understood. I'll make sure the fleet is fully operational. Shields, engines, power conduits. Everything. I trust you. Your ingenuity has already saved lives today. Do not underestimate the value of human creativity." Kai returned to the engineering console, his mind already racing with calculations and adjustments. The fleet was damaged but repairable. Auxiliary thrusters needed reinforcement, energy conduits required recalibration, and adaptive shields had to be optimized for maximum efficiency. Each task was critical. A single miscalculation could mean the difference between survival and annihilation. As he worked, he reflected on how far he had come. Just days ago, he had been a simple engineer on a remote colony, repairing starships with no idea of the larger war raging across the galaxy. Now he was directly assisting the Empress herself, playing a pivotal role in strategies that could determine the fate of countless civilizations. The responsibility was immense, but so was the opportunity to demonstrate the potential of humanity. Lyra approached again, her gaze sweeping across the control panels. "Kai, focus on the shield arrays first. We will need them to withstand the initial assault. The enemy is deploying new weaponry designed to penetrate standard defenses. We cannot rely on conventional systems alone." Kai adjusted the calibration protocols, rerouting power from secondary engines to reinforce the shields. He introduced subtle modifications, using patterns inspired by natural energy flows he had observed in starship engineering manuals. These small changes increased the shield's responsiveness, allowing them to absorb and dissipate energy more efficiently. "It's unconventional," he admitted, "but it should give us a slight advantage." "Good. Humans often see solutions that others cannot."
That is why I value your input.
The calm of the engineering hub was broken by an alarm. Sensors flashed red, indicating a large enemy fleet emerging from a nearby nebula. The ships moved with deadly precision, their formation tight and coordinated. The enemy had learned from their previous encounter and was now prepared for a direct confrontation. Lyra's demeanor changed instantly. She moved to the command center, issuing precise commands to reposition the fleet. "Kai, I need you to monitor energy flows continuously. If they breach the shields, we cannot afford to lose even one ship. Redirect power is needed, and be ready to implement emergency measures." Kai's fingers flew across the controls, adjusting conduits, stabilizing engines, and recalibrating shields in real time. He felt a surge of adrenaline. The lives of countless humans and allied species depended on his actions. The Empress, confident yet tense, coordinated the fleet with a skill that left Kai in awe. He realized that this was a partnership, each of them relying on the other's unique abilities to survive. The enemy fired first. Plasma beams streaked across space, colliding with the fleet's shields in a brilliant display of energy and light. Kai monitored the impact points, rerouting power to reinforce the most stressed areas. Sparks of energy crackled along the shield matrix, and the hum of the engines rose in response.
Good, Lyra said, her voice calm but firm. Keep the shields balanced.
Don't let the energy spikes destabilize the field. Kai adjusted power flows, introducing slight fluctuations that diffuse the enemy's attacks.
His improvisations worked. The fleet remained intact, and several enemy ships were forced to retreat after sustaining minor damage. Yet the enemy was relentless. They deployed a new weapon, a wave of drones designed to bypass shields and infiltrate the fleet. Kai's mind raced as he analyzed the incoming threat. He needed a solution that combined strategy, speed, and ingenuity. He noticed a pattern in the drone's approach vectors.
By slightly altering the ship's energy pulse frequencies, he could create a feedback loop that would confuse the drone's targeting systems. It was risky. If the timing was off, the feedback could damage the fleet's own systems.
"Lyra," he called over the comms, "I have an idea to counter the drones. It's unconventional, but it might work."
I need control over the auxiliary power matrix for synchronization. She turned to him, eyes sharp and approving.
"Do it. Your judgment has been reliable. I trust your instincts." Kai's hands moved quickly, rerouting power, adjusting frequencies, and synchronizing the feedback loop with the fleet's movements. The drones approached, their sensors scanning for targets. As the first wave entered the influence field, the feedback loop activated. The drones faltered, sensors misaligned, and many collided with each other or were forced to retreat. The fleet cheered, a brief but genuine relief in the midst of chaos. Lyra gave Kai a subtle nod of approval, her eyes reflecting pride and trust. "Well done. Your solution saved lives and maintained our tactical advantage." Kai felt a swell of accomplishment, yet he knew the battle was far from over. The enemy flagship, a massive vessel bristling with weaponry, emerged from behind the nebula. Its energy signature dwarfed any ship in the fleet. Kai's heart pounded. The next encounter would test the limits of both his ingenuity and the fleet's capabilities. Lyra moved to a strategic console, analyzing the flagship's approach.
Kai, we need a coordinated assault. Shields, engines, and weapons must operate in perfect harmony.
We cannot afford mistakes. Kai nodded, his mind already working on possible solutions.
He suggested modifications to the fleet's energy distribution, allowing weapons to fire more rapidly while maintaining shield integrity. Lyra incorporated his recommendations into the fleet's tactical plan, adjusting formations and positioning for maximum efficiency. The enemy flagship fired, unleashing a torrent of energy that threatened to overwhelm the fleet. Kai's modifications held. Shields absorbed the impact, energy conduits rerouted power seamlessly, and the fleet remained stable. The counterattack began. Plasma cannons fired in synchronized bursts, targeting weak points identified by Lyra's strategic calculations and Kai's engineering insights. The flagship shuddered under the concentrated fire. Sparks and debris flew from its hull, and the enemy crew struggled to maintain control. Kai adjusted shield harmonics to protect nearby ships, while Lyra coordinated flanking maneuvers that exploited the flagship's momentary vulnerability. Hours passed in a tense dance of strategy, ingenuity, and precise execution. Kai monitored every system. Lyra commanded the fleet, and the enemy struggled to adapt to the unpredictable human-led tactics. Slowly but surely, the tide of battle shifted. The enemy flagship sustained critical damage and retreated, leaving the fleet victorious but weary. Kai slumped in his chair, exhausted but exhilarated. The fleet had survived, and human ingenuity had played a decisive role. Lyra approached, her expression reflecting relief and admiration.
You did it, Kai.
Your actions today changed the outcome of this battle. Never underestimate the value of your skills.
Kai shook his head, still in disbelief.
I just did what I thought was right. You were the one commanding the fleet.
Without your strategy, nothing would have worked. Lyra smiled faintly.
It is the combination of our abilities that made the difference. Strategy, creativity, adaptability.
That is what makes humans remarkable, Kai. Your contribution proves that even individuals from modest backgrounds can influence the fate of the galaxy. Kai felt a deep sense of pride and purpose. He realized that human ingenuity, courage, and resilience were more than abstract concepts. They were forces that could shape reality, even on a galactic scale. As the fleet regrouped, Lyra spoke quietly. Kai, you have proven yourself today.
Your role is not finished. There will be more battles, more challenges, but I am confident that together we can face them.
The galaxy needs humans like you. Innovative, courageous, and unwavering. Kai looked at her, understanding finally the depth of the trust she had placed in him. He had started as an engineer, fixing ships and remote outposts, but now he was part of something far greater. His skills, his creativity, and his determination had directly influenced the outcome of a major battle, and he knew that this was only the beginning. Outside the observation deck, stars stretched infinitely, each one a reminder of the vastness of the universe and the endless possibilities it held. Kai felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that humans, even ordinary humans, could rise to meet extraordinary challenges. The Empress turned to him, her eyes reflecting both resolve and warmth. Kai, remember this. Ingenuity, courage, and adaptability are what make humanity strong. You have proven that today. Never forget it. Kai nodded, a quiet determination settling over him. He had learned that even in the face of overwhelming odds, humans could make a difference. And with Lyra by his side, he knew that they could overcome any obstacle the galaxy placed before them. The night was calm now, the fleet secure, but Kai knew that this victory was just one of many. He glanced at the stars, feeling the weight of responsibility and the exhilaration of potential. Humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, creators, and problem solvers, and he was ready to continue proving it, one challenge at a time.